Hello, everybody, and welcome to Friday Night Frenzy. I hope you are having a fantastic evening. Tonight, we have 8 amazing teams battling it out in Week 3. We're going to have an amazing set for you guys. But before we do that, let me introduce tonight's co-commentator. We have Brushstrokes, SPL. Brushstrokes, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing fantastic. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's my pleasure. And I've actually never really introduced myself to you. So hi, I'm Falco.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I am a competitive junior player. I'm the captain of Bad Luck Trout, or BLT. Not a conflict of interest, but I was a longtime member of the Wiggly Phantoms we'll be seeing here in a couple hours. But yeah, I do commentary for IPL and Little Squid League and just try to get my hands on anywhere in the community I can.
Nice, that's awesome. Well, it's a pleasure to have you, so thanks for being here.
Yeah, of course.
So we can see below we have our 3 maps and modes tonight. We have Tower Control on Piranha Pit, Clam Blitz on Wahoo World, and Splat Zones on Arrwana. Now let's see the teams that are playing tonight. Set 1 is going to be Intimidation Factor versus the Radical Dreamers. Set 2 will be Flounder Frights versus InkSync. Set 3, KingMaker, who is still undefeated, the only undefeated team in Friday Night Frenzy, versus NightWings. And then set 4 is SPF 7 versus the Wiggly Phantoms. This is going to be an amazing week because we have so many teams that are 1-1 right now. There are 6 teams, so this is really going to start the division.
Definitely a deciding week for a lot of these teams. I mean, as you said, KingMaker being the only undefeated team. Really what these teams want to see now is get their standings a little bit ahead of the next guy, a little bit ahead of the team below them, so that way, you know, by the final week they can say, yeah, no, thanks to week 3 we were on this uprise after maybe a falter in week 1 or a step back in week 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Extremely critical this week. Now, let's take a look at the rules. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Friday Night Frenzy, we have 8 teams that participate round-robin style. So, you know, every Friday night, these 8 teams are playing each other. So every team will have the opportunity to play another team. And each set will play just once per week, but they will play all 3 games. So even if you win your set after 2 games, Game 3 still matters in case of a tiebreaker scenario. The maps and modes are predetermined, so there are no counter picks here. All matches are streamed and commentated. I think this is what's pretty unique about Friday Night Frenzy compared to other tourneys, but we have all the matchups right here for you. And then at the end of the regular season, we will have the top 4 tournament at the end. And watching Friday Night Frenzy Season 1 last season, it was really entertaining. So I'm really excited to get started here. But for now,
for sure.
Yeah. For now, let's take a look at who's playing in the first match. So we have Intimidation Factor versus the Radical Dreamers. And the Radical Dreamers, they're 0-2, but they were able to get a win last week, I believe, against SPF. And they had a really close set. Brushstrokes, I don't know if you were able to watch any of those matches. Do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I was able to take a peek at a couple of them. I think when you're a team that's at the bottom of a bracket, especially in such a long format like this, we have a couple weeks to prepare yourself, or at least a week in between each game. I think it gives a lot of time to really sit down and analyze exactly what happened in a set, and take that and apply it. And I think it leads to faster improvement and larger improvement. So Radical Dreamers here, even though they are 0-2, definitely looking to maybe take their first win of FNF this season and go on. I mean, are they completely knocked out? I don't think so. Not yet, right?
No, not yet. But there is one thing we didn't mention about Intimidation Factor. Did you see who won Little Squid League last Saturday?
Right. Definitely. Yeah, taking that victory, definitely a big boost for them. But also, I think it's really interesting that because we're not looking at the same skill, what's the word I'm looking for, level as LSL, that, you know, that puts you a little uneasy, and there is a mental game there that has to be considered. And, well, maybe we don't quite have the same confidence we have in LSL that we want here.
Yeah, it was an incredible win. I don't know how many teams there were that participated in Little Squid League, but when you come in first place in any tournament, that does so much to your mentality when you are playing Splatoon. I've never had the luxury of really winning any tournaments when I've played, but I can only imagine they were really riding a high, and we'll see if it kind of carries over to this week.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, I think Little Squid League, much like something like Low Ink, is such a rite of passage to win. It's like, look, we started at the bottom here. This is the tournament. We can say we won this, and look how far we've come now. So definitely intimidation factor here, looking to add another pin to their sash of like, look, we got Little Squid League, and we're gonna take FNF too.
Exactly. Now, again, let's take a closer look at these maps and modes. We're going to be starting off with tower control on Piranha Pit, and the way that the tower moves in this stage, to me, it makes it really difficult, and it makes it extremely... When you're on the tower, you have to be looking 360 degrees the whole time. There's no way that's really safe that you can just kind of hang out on. It's not necessarily that you're going to get flanked, it's just that it makes it so easy for somebody to flank you.
Right. I mean, I think what I always like to say about tower control Piranha Pit is your base becomes their base, becomes your base again. Like, because the tower is so circular, you have this opportunity where you're going out of your court into the other court into their drop. Like, just, it makes no sense how it moves, and your head is on a swivel, and you have to make sure you're paying attention. Certainly a challenge for these two teams.
Indeed. And then moving on to Wahoo World Clam Blitz, I'd say this one is probably the most neutral. Some would say, the most competitive friendly map mode combo that we have here, and I'm a big fan of it. How do you feel about Clam Blitz on Wahoo World?
I like Clam's Wahoo. My personal gripe with it is because it's such a large map, but to get a really confident push, you need those extensions to be out for you to push across mid into the enemy base. And so while you have all this room to move, it feels that like controlling it, you have to do a really good job knowing when it's worth controlling, say, the far right side that no one's going to push in, or when it's worth just say, you know what, I need to hold forward, I need to go in a minute, I need to get those clams in. So definitely a prefrontal cortex map.
Indeed. And then moving on to Splat Zones on Arrwana Mall, I believe we have some people in chat who are not very fond of this map and mode, but it's not meant to be as... I don't know how to describe it. Very like strictly competitive maps and modes. Of course, we did have Moray Towers in season 1, but newsflash, that is not coming back for this one.
I mean, look, you picked the right co-commentator this week, because I am a strong supporter of Arrwana Mall, at least on Splat Zones. I actually like clams there as well, which is gonna get me like thrown out of this live stream. So I'll stop talking.
It's okay. I don't blame you. The only thing, I mean, I have a lot of beef with Arijuana, but being a K-shot player, it's at least easy to target all 4 players with Tenta missiles. Sure. It makes it pretty easy. However, like on tower control Arijuana Mall, the tower is so tall.
Yeah.
Like it is insanely tall, and I don't know. I don't know if there are any other maps that have a tower that's as tall, but, Yeah,
I can't think of any off the top of my head. I think there's like 3 tower heights, so I'm sure there are a couple. It's weird. Arrwana is a very skinny map, but it's also a very tall map. That there's a lot of altitude shifts as mid is super high up, and then you go through this court area and it's low again, and then back your base it's high up. So definitely a charger-friendly map, which I think actually is a trend throughout these 3. Is very charger friendly, with tower pit, being able to snipe from tower, trying to get those drops area, maybe those staircases, Wahoo World being so long in mid, and Zones Arijuana being Zones Arijuana.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see how many chargers we have. Maybe a few splatlings here and there. Again, last week, Popgun and I noticed there were just so many just shooter weapons, just straight up slaying weapons. But we'll see. But our teams are ready up, so let's bring you the first match of tonight: Intimidation Factor versus Radical Dreamers. Here we go.
Yeah, we're starting out here on tower control Piranha Pit. A map, as we said, that requires your head to be on a swivel. We see a Hydra and a Blaster coming out on the start there. A a weird pick along with that Dynamo. On the other side, a much more aggressive Octobrush, Splash, and Zap combo, but a backline E-Leader Scope there, going to be able to carry some range.
Yeah, both of these comps look pretty even so far. You know, especially with the Custom Hydra E-Leader, looks like now nobody's really rushing towards the tower. Again, you definitely want to have some map control first, but players from Intimidation Factor are going to hop on. I don't really think that was meant to just take the tower, more of like, hey, I need to get over to the other side. This is the quickest path. But now Intimidation Factor is going to get on the tower, and it looks like a few members of Radical Dreamer are going to use their specials, as they do have a one-player advantage. Tower is still at mid, about 40 seconds in.
Yeah, look at how Radical Dreamers were able to coordinate their specials there. The Armor and Booyah coming out. That's going to find them that pick on the Zap. And now 2 more going down on both sides, 1 on each side. Very back and forth game in the first minute of play here.
It is, yeah. 2 players are now down on Radical Dreamers as they have a very, very slight lead. It looks like Safa's going to have to try and play really conservatively. It's really hard playing against any armored weapon, but if you have a Hydra, it's pretty nice that sometimes you can shred through. But now Intimidation Factor really making some progress, getting to the first checkpoint, and Arrwana doing a great job just avoiding that suction bomb and able to stay on the tower as they are going to approach their second checkpoint.
With 1 special ready, that hammer, is going to be a deciding special for Intimidation Factor here as they look to get a pop and start moving. 1 down still on the side of Radical Dreamers.
And yeah, tower is still being taken by Arrwana. 3 players are down on Radical Dreamers. They have a lot of map control. It's going to be really hard, but as they approach this 3rd checkpoint, we'll see how the players from Radical Dreamers push in. Arrwana still staying on the tower. Can they stay alive that long? Yes, he can to get game 1.
Wow, such a snowball from Intimidation Factor there. Really applying the pressure early and just being able to hold forward. They did a good job stalling in that first minute, but then once they had the opportunity, they just went for it.
They certainly did, and Arrwana doing a good job staying on the tower, getting 8 kills in that match. And we'll see how Radical Dreamers respond a little bit. It looks like we may have to do a little bit of audio configuration here, chat is telling me, but I appreciate you guys letting me know. Looks like our game audio is a little bit delayed, so we'll see what we can do there.
Yeah, I mean, that gives me the perfect amount of time to talk about Radical Dreamers comp there. A lot slower paced, and they felt that in that game, you know, getting snowballed against by Intimidation Factor. But Radical Dreamers, you know, on a larger map, we're going to Clam Blitz on Wahoo World, might be able to take some of those weapons still and use them here a little more conservatively, allowing Intimidation Factor to overextend, pull out their specials when they have them, and really snowball themselves. But going to take a lot of communication on their comms and a lot of planning to do so, as Wahoo World is a tricky map to master.
It is, and going on to Clam Blitz 2, it's hard to say if this one will go as quick or if it will be a little slower. From what we noticed last week, the Clam Blitz matches kind of came down to overtime. Like, they were pretty close the entire time. But again, Radical Dreamers in that first match, I mean, for the first minute, they did a good job just contesting Intimidation Factor, but as soon as Intimidation Factor got rolling or got tower riding, I guess, there was really no stopping them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Intimidation Factor's roster here. Confused a little about Dorsal. They are on the roster, even though they don't have the team tag. And I was just curious. But, you know, being able to have that coordination there and being able to say, you know what, no, we're going to snowball now. We're going to move and we're going to take this game in dominating fashion requires that swagger, I want to say, the confidence that we talked about from their win on LSL.
All right, Radical Dreamers giving us the wonderful Booyah This Way greeting that we oh so adore. And I think, are the clams do they have a pre-spawn location when they first pop up in this map? Or in any map, I guess?
Yeah, so the clams spawn up in random spots, though predetermined spots when the game opens. And then there are spawn locations that spawn in groups of 4 every 20 seconds on the map.
And right now, it looks like Intimidation Factor has 20 claims they're working with, but no power claim just yet. So each player's got a lot right now, but they do have two specials.
Ooh, but with that 52 going down, that's going to be one of their specials off the map. Now just the Inkjet ready. On the other side, the K-Machine going down. That's going to lose their splashdown, but with armor coming online, it looks like they're going to go for their first push.
Oh, and it was so close, just pushing that power claim a little bit forward as Intimidation Factor tries to make a pretty aggressive approach there. But now Radical Dreamers, they have 2 power claims, going to be pushing most of Intimidation Factor out of mid and out of their side, and we'll see what they can do.
Yeah, Radical Dreamers now just looking to hold mid. They're going to get that ball ready and the Booyah online. Missiles ready as well, but they're going to have to go against 2 specials of Intimidation Factor. And with 2 balls, that gives their locations away, and mid's going to be a little bit harder to hold as we see one going down already.
Yeah, 3 specials now for Intimidation Factor. They are ready to go, but unfortunately, they don't have a power claim to work with. Arrwana is going to maybe get that pick. Oh, so close. As one player's down now on Radical Dreamers, they're going to work with the bubbles. Arrwana's going to be asking for some clans. Arrwana has 9, 10, going to throw the power claim in and give the first score for Intimidation Factor.
Just being able to steamroll ahead and get some points on the board is important, but with going 2 down, it doesn't look like they're going to be able to get too many more, though, as I say that a couple clams are able to go in a 2v3 situation on the board.
Yeah, they got all the way down to 56. We'll see if Zanella can pick up some more claims. It doesn't look like they'll be back in time. So Radical Dreamer is really going to have to push back, take control of some mid, build some specials now, and slowly push Intimidation Factor out.
Right, I mean, just some great map control there. We saw on the overhead for a second. Intimidation Factor getting really the entire map painted orange, and that's what opened the door for them to get the points on the board and really get that push down to 56.
Yeah, Intimidation Factor back up to 22 power claims. They do have, or clams, not power claims, that'd be a lot. They have 1 power clam, but Mass is going to be using their Inkjet. Gets a very nice pick. Was that a double? So close, it was an assisted double. Dorsal's going to be pushing up with the bubbles. Can Dorsal score in time? Yes, they can. 2 players are down now on Radical Dreamers. And we'll see Arrwana sitting with a few more clams. Zanella going to score some as well. And look at this, getting all the way down to 22.
A huge lead if you're Intimidation Factor. Those are the points you want on the board. And with 2 minutes left, there's still time left for them to get a KO. A couple more clams go in.
Indeed, and just 7 remaining now. They just need 3 more clams. Intimidation Factor does, but look at Mask is still just waiting there. Mask is going to wait and see if any claims spawn anywhere, but is able to get a pick. 2 players down on Radical Dreamers again.
Radical Dreamers now just trying to get some paint down and move forward. When you're down that many points, your goal is to regroup, get your specials, and just play a calm, drawn-out push. I mean, your goal is to get it down in 1, but Intimidation Factor keeps the pressure on. 2 more specials come online, and the barrier is opened again.
Oh, is this going to be it? Dorsal has a few clams up there. Echo going to be trying to get him, but oh, Dorsal sneaks right by Echo and gives Intimidation Factor the win.
I mean, just the continuous pressure of Intimidation Factor was impossible for Radical Dreamers to break out of. They were struggling. They could not find an opening. I mean, they were not given breathing room, which is Intimidation Factor's goal there. When you're got the first push and then 1 more, your goal is just keep applying the pressure, keep steamrolling ahead, keep not giving Radical Dreamers any space, and they did that flawlessly.
They did, and I mean, if you're a team that wins a little squiddly, you're going to be some tough competition. But Intimidation Factor doing a really good job there. And again, we still have Game 3, even though Intimidation Factor gets a set win. Game 3 can be pretty crucial, and we noticed last week that there were no 3-0 sweeps. Every single set was a 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, something I will say is when you are in such a tough fight and you're down 2-0 and it's play all 3, that third match is an opportunity to go, well, we're not going to be able to win this set. And a lot of tournaments, it's like, well, let's get this game, let's get the tiebreakers, and let's be able to maybe get a better bracket in something like a 2-day format of low ink. So, you know, the pressure's off here a little bit for Radical Dreamers. They have a second to rest a little bit and play a little more calmer, a little more collected, and that might be to their benefit on a map, or on a mode, sorry, Splat Zones, which is all about getting control and just locking out and holding an area.
It is, but you know, is this really the map and mode that you're gonna be the most calm with? Arrwana zones, and zones generally is the spammiest special mode, just because you're always painting over your enemy's paint. That's how you take the objective. So you know, we'll kind of see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, definitely spammy special if it's such a contested game. I would argue that there are a lot of cases where in Splat Zones, you know, one team takes control, you build your specials, you wait, you break back into zone, and it's this very, like, fluid back and forth pacing of one team pushes in, okay, let's give some space, let's let them take the zone, let's push back. So I almost find Splat Zones like the most fun to watch and the most pretty to watch, but we'll see how messy these two teams decide to make the game.
We will, and especially we'll see if they mix up the comp a little bit. We noticed last week there was one match where they went the quad blah blobbler in one of their matches. I doubt we will see that here, but we could be surprised. We'll see for
on Arrwana. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. No, Blob is a great pick here.
Yeah, we'll see if they can
but
get
unfortunately,
a win here.
A K-Machine coming out on the side of Intimidation Factor. Not quite the Blob we wanted to see, but a slosher and a bucket nonetheless. Some shorter range comps from these two teams. Intimidation Factor with that E-Leader as a backline. The Pro and the Jet carrying range for the side of Radical Dreamers.
Yeah, and right now nobody's going to get the cap yet, but Echo just using their Suction Rush, but the cap is going to go towards Intimidation Factor, as Dorsal's going to be kind of standing up on one of the snipe areas, and they have the zone pretty well protected. Mask is pushed up pretty far, but unfortunately goes down to a Splat Bomb. 2 players are down, though, on Radical Dreamers. Dorsal, can they avoid the Ray? So close. Gotta avoid the Ray, gotta avoid the Suction Rush. Oh, gets a nice snipe on Echo.
Ooh.
Oh,
Just such a great hold from Intimidation Factor, carried by that backline there, carried by Dorsal, doing a great job holding their spot, and as these Radical Dreamer players move along this right side, they're not going to be able to quite find the pick on Dorsal that they wanted, and as the timer now ticks past 40 ticks, this could be an easy 100 as the splash goes down.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how Radical Dreamers are going to push up. They got to use that Ray to get some kills. 2 players are down, so I think Radical Dreamers can get it. Doc with the getting so close on that kill. Doc gets 1. Can they get a double? So close, but they have the zone, giving 62 penalty points to Intimidation Factor.
Yeah, I mean, still a dominant push, and that's what I talked about with the flowy nature of Splat Zones. We saw Radical Dreamers take their time, build their specials, and push back in as one unit. We'll see now Intimidation Factor do the same. Hopefully they don't end up just, holding forward and going down one-on-one.
Yeah, we see a rain, and it looks like they just also used some armor, but Echo's going to go down. It was caught in the rain for just a little too long, and also with the help of the Inkjet, Intimidation Factor is able to take the zone and is able to get a few picks on players of Radical Dreamers. But again, this Ray, Saf doing a good job getting quite a few picks.
Yeah, 3 minutes left in this game, and it really is anyone's right now. Despite what that 19 value will tell you on the scoreboard, I mean, just one good hold from Radical Dreamers, and this game is theirs.
Indeed, and so it looks like Intimidation Factor capped it for a little bit, but Radical Dreamers, they're chipping away at their penalty points. They could get under 57 remaining, but now it's contested. Arrwana going to use a splash down to mid. No caps just yet. Echo going to be using a Suction Rush, also avoiding Arrwana. Oh, and gets a really nice pick. And it looks like Radical Dreamers have the zone again.
A clean pick there. But that Radical Dreamers is going to allow them to hold the zone a little bit longer, despite, getting a couple extra penalty points. Just delaying their hold a little bit longer, but it's not going to be enough as they're able to hold the zone here for even longer.
Yeah, 2 players are down on Intimidation Factor, and Radical Dreamers still pushing up quite a bit. No specials are ready on their end, but it looks like Intimidation Factor does have armor ready. We'll see when they deploy it. They just use some rain, but they really are just painting over all of this rain, and they now... it looks like the cap goes to Intimidation Factor, going to give 29 penalty points to Radical Dreamers.
Radical Dreamers, if they can keep up this pressure, that point value is not far away, but now, it's Intimidation Factor's turn to hold the zone. A 2v2 situation, one of those is a respawn inside Radical Dreamers, but one going down there, that's going to leave 4v1 on the field. Yeah. And Radical Dreamers is able to take the zone back.
They are. It was pretty commanding. They did have a 2-player advantage, and using the bubbles that are just floating there kind of as a safety net. Lady Rat has the rain ready. No need to use it just... Oh, now they're going to use it. But when you have the zone, really no need to use it. But it's going to be fighting with some other rain that's coming in from Intimidation Factor. And it looks like they get down to 39 penalty points, but now are going to have... Or 39 points, but now we'll have 28 penalty points.
Slowly chipping away at that point value. I said it, 1 minute left here, but that's plenty of time for Radical Dreamers to take this match. Just slowly getting that point value a little bit lower, not letting Intimidation Factor get another lockout, and they're going to be golden.
We just have under a minute left now, and this is, so far, has been Radical Dreamers' best match. They've been right in it, and given the right picks, they can take the lead and win this game, as they are down now by 1 player. Saf has the Ray ready, probably going to wait for some of the players to come back, and is going to now use it. We'll see. This is kind of do or die time. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, Radical Dreamers has to make a last-second push here. The timer's starting to count down. They're going to find 1 pick on that K-Machine, 8 ticks left, and that's going to be the game in favor of Intimidation Factor.
Yeah, Intimidation Factor holds on to get the win, but that was Radical Dreamers' best match. They were right in there, and when they had the zone and were able to lock out players of Intimidation Factor, they did a really good job doing it.
Yeah, I mean, Intimidation Factor got 2 good lockouts that entire game. Every single other time Intimidation Factor capped that zone, which was a good 4 or 5 times, Radical Dreamers said, nuh-uh, we're keeping this zone. We're going to make sure this is our game. And they held on tight for basically the full 5 minutes.
They really did. Again, and I don't think there was any, crazy option with any of their weapon choices too. It's kind of like, hey, let's just use what we're comfortable with, and we'll see what happens. And again, they had a really good effort in that match.
I think that worked in their favor, though. I mean, being comfortable with an E-liter scope on Arrwana zones is going to give them a little bit of an upper hand. But certainly taking advantage of that was Intimidation Factor and really using everything at their disposal.
Indeed. And coming up next, we're going to have Flounder, Frights versus InkSync. So InkSync is the only fully returning team here in Friday Night Frenzy Season 2 that came from Season 1. But Flounder Frights, they're made up of players who were on the team, the Anglers and SAR. They're kind of a mix of those 2 teams formed into Flounder Frights. And then the other half is NightWings that is going to play later in set number 3. So let's go ahead and take a look at the lineup for these 2 teams. I've already talked about the Riptide experience and meeting Jimmy, super cool guy. And I'd love for Riptide to happen again and for everybody to make it. But this is going to be a really good set.
I think it's funny you mentioned about Riptide. I think there was a huge push right after Riptide happened, like looking at all the LAN server welcomes. There's like a million more messages that people are totally hyped to get to meet people in person and play more Splatoon, side by side with your fellow squids. So I'm definitely excited to see what LANs are coming out of these, servers soon.
Yeah. Now, Brushstrokes, do you have any LAN experience?
I don't. I joined the community with, I think, a lot of people during early pandemic. And wasn't able to make it out to Riptide, so I've been short for IRL Splatoon.
Yeah, attending Riptide, that was my very first LAN I had ever been to, and I've been playing this game for it's been out 4 years, so I've been playing it for 4 years, but I was able to do it. I really wanted to go in 2020. Unfortunately, that couldn't happen, but I had a great time. Everybody who I talked to seemed to really have a good time, and I guess I had no idea what the environment of watching Splatoon in person was like. Because when you watch the streams, you can hear the audience typically, like especially during grand finals, and like I'm like, are people really like cheering and like going like going crazy for that? And like, of course they are. It was cool to see. From
a commentator standpoint, like as someone who enjoys doing that, watching people like Rissa and people like Cater going live on stream there and being able to hear what they were saying in context to how the audience was responding to the players playing there, that it felt so much more connected and interlocked than like any live stream I've ever seen. So definitely some fun gameplay to watch, I'm sure. Obviously more fun to attend and play.
Yeah, it was a blast. My team that played, we unfortunately didn't win any sets, but we it was so fun. And again, last week we kind of touched up on the experience of playing at the Shoal, which is different than private battles because that's an actual LAN section of Splatoon 2, and there's virtually no lag in the game, so going from playing League online or private battles online to playing in LAN, what you see is what you get with those types of matches.
For sure. I mean, the number of times I've been in game and I've heard the call out "laggy zap got me on left" is embarrassing. So, definitely looking forward to getting the opportunities to play with that zero latency and in that environment is super exciting.
Yeah, definitely. And our teams are starting to trickle in here. We do have a little bit of time before we start, so I don't think we messaged them. There was no urgency for them to get into the lobbies, essentially. But, you know, with these two teams, InkSync is very strong, but they did lose to the Wiggly Phantoms last week. I think we were I thought that was an upset, to be honest, with the Wiggly Phantoms taking that one, but it makes this whole experience all more competitive, so I'm very happy about it.
For sure. I mean, I feel like I know too much about the Wiggly Phantoms, so but definitely a team that has been grinding at it for like as long as I can remember, because I started on the Wiggly Phantoms. But I mean, yeah, upsets left and right. I think that we are in for a fun set here. I think it's important to point out with Flounder Frights, they are 1-1 in this series, tied with the Wiggly Phantoms. So as we mentioned very early on in this stream, like this is the defining week. This is the opportunity to go, hey, we are differentiating ourselves from the people below us, and we are really going to pull ahead in this bracket.
That's very true. At the same time, if you can say, hey, we're on the winning side of this, we have a winning record, but then again, you've only faced at that point 3 out of the 7 other teams, so you've only faced less than half of them too. So it really kind of goes both ways, but you know, I think that's more of a mental morale. You know, it's more of a morale if you feel that way.
For sure. I also think that it gives us an insight into how to place these teams skill-wise, that, you know, we are early in this scene. We are only on, you know, week 3 of 7. So it's definitely an opportunity to say, hey, you know, InkSync wasn't able to take this win off the Wiggly Phantoms, but maybe, you know, Flounder Frights here will be, and that may put Flounder Frights a little bit above Wiggly Phantoms, even though they haven't played each other yet. But just a lot of fun things you can do with kind of the standings of, you know, early in brackets.
Indeed. And most of our players are here now. I believe we're waiting on one more before we give that to you. So we mentioned chargers for a lot of these maps. I believe we will see that with Jimmy. I think we saw some bamboo from Jimmy last week too, which was good to see. But
yeah, bamboo definitely a fun weapon on clams, being able to kind of stall out areas just with that very short range and very deadly laser.
Indeed.
I think.
Yeah, go on.
I was gonna say, I think that's especially important on something like Piranha Pit, where there are all these tight corners that, despite being such a large map, like you look at it on Rainmaker and you're going end to end, useless to useless. But here, I mean, with tower control, it really is just like this little box in mid. You're fighting from your enemy drop-ish below that ramp area to the other ramp, and that's it. That's all the space you get to play this game.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe one of the proper callouts for Piranha Pit is useless, right?
It is.
Yeah, so
yeah,
like...
that far left and that far right area, just there's nothing there.
Yeah, yeah, and it's... I don't know if there are any other stages that are like that. Like, we have New Albacore. It's a big stage, but any way you go is a way towards the objective. You know, like if you're playing Clam Blitz or Rainmaker, or even Tower, because the Tower zigzags all the time. The Tower zigzags here too, but it like kind of does like a square formation.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, uselesses as a call out are pretty rare. I think there's like a tiny area on Mako Mart that is referred to as useless, but like I go there all the time and I don't think it's useless. So
yeah,
definitely not a objective thing to call an area useless. You know, seeing how these two teams might maybe go there to charge a special or take a wide flank.
Yeah, we shall see. Our teams are ready, so let's get started with Flounder Frights versus InkSync. Again, starting off with tower control on Piranha Pit.
Right, again, seeing how these two teams are able to use range, a backline-less comp on the side of Flounder Frights, and is that also backline-less on... Yeah, so we got the bamboo, so no backlines in this match, not being able to use crazy range, but see how these two teams are able to attack these two drops to start.
Yeah, that's true. Again, Flounder Frights coming out with a very shooter-heavy comp. InkSync with probably I would argue a little more well-rounded, but then again, it's whatever you make of your weapons. You know, I never judge the weapon. It's always any player, their ability to use it. But a few players are now going to go down on Inksync. 3 players are down as the rest of Flounder Frights stays alive. They're going to take the tower, but Inksync got all the way to 78, getting about 1/4 through the first checkpoint.
Yeah, for a minute there, I feel like I blinked and everyone was gone. Like, 1 minute into this game and it was all Flounder Frights, but, you know, Inksync now doing the same of their own, getting the blue down on the map and getting lead.
Yeah, to look at that map, it looks like Chase is really using the K-Pro, but taking a lot of the map, as though just 3 players are down now on Flounder Frights. Chase is going to get a nice pick, but Chase is going to back up. The tower got all the way down to 56, just halfway to the second checkpoint.
Yeah, and Special's ready now for Inksync. This push might not be done. They might be willing to take a little bit more points off here.
They might. It looks like they're going to be avoiding some missiles that are coming. 2 specials on the side of Flounder Frights. Chase is going to be using a Booyah. It looks like they will have armor too that's now used. Can Chase get the pick? Yes, they can. 2 players are down on Inksync. As they approach the first checkpoint, Chase getting a nice double as they will continue to get some more map control.
Very back and forth, you know, a minute 30 into this game, and points have not gotten through the 50s. You know, we've only seen 1 checkpoint fall in the entire map.
Oh, and it looks like a lot of players were down now in Flounder Frights. I don't think it was an official team wipe, but they were 2-2, and now we're going to see Inksync get a little more map control, but Buddy going to get a nice pick there while 2 players of Inksync are down. Again, if you're Flounder Frights, can you keep this up for 3 minutes? And not that they're, like, purposely trying to stall or anything. Both teams are playing very aggressively, which is great. Tower's going to still sit at mid as Buddy's going to get on now. They have a 1-point advantage, but they have 3 specials ready.
Yeah, armor. And now there comes the 4th, the Beer Bomb coming out along with the bubbles. Their armor online. They're popping everything. The splash goes down there. That's going to lose their bomb rush. But in a trade with that Dapples, that's going to leave a 3v3 situation where they have a huge advantage.
And Buddy is going to get Umi. Tower is still in between the first and second checkpoint. As Inksync gets back on the tower, they're going to need a little bit more map control. Flounder Frights doing a really good job just controlling all of their territory.
Very back and forth though still. I mean, that checkpoint isn't quite going to fall, but it really is anyone's game. All of these fights ending up in trades or easy pickups from the next player.
Yeah, Flounder Frights is able to just keep the tower over on Inksync's side for just long enough that it's really hard for Inksync to really focus on the tower and focus on map control and focus on anything else they need to focus on. As, oh, Hosake goes down. Gotta love the Ink Armor knockoff.
Yeah, unfortunate for them, though, and that's a painful death to have. Now 3 down on the side of Inksync as they go to respawn and play some defense.
And now 2 players are down on Flounder Frights. So Jimmy gonna try and get some picks. It looks like Flounder Frights gets all the way to 47, so we'll see how far Inksync can push it. Looks like they really haven't had an opportunity to get on the tower yet. Again, it's all about kind of getting that map control and not letting Flounder Frights build up their specials where they're able to coordinate them cohesively. But we're now approaching the final minute of the match.
Yeah, and those points really, I mean, the 47, a recent addition, but the lead has been held since the first minute of play here as we start to wind down this clock. Inksync has to take everything they have, those missiles coming online now, looking to push the tower through this checkpoint, but they have a ways to go if they want to be able to take this match.
They do, but so far they're doing a really good job. They were able to push out a lot of players from Flounder Frights, but now they are starting to get... They don't have any of their specials ready, but they are still pushing the tower. Can they get to that second checkpoint? There were 3 players down on Flounder Frights. It looks like they may do it.
There we go. The points start to fall. 30 seconds left on the clock. Specials online for Inksync. They're going to try to continue to push this a little bit farther. 20 seconds left on the clock. They're going for this checkpoint, and they're going to be able to take the lead.
Yeah, Inksync takes the lead, still on the tower, getting past the checkpoint. So they're going to get all the way down to 30. Still 2 players are down on Flounder Frights. Matt is going to try and use a suction rush to just push them off the tower, but can he get close enough to knock them off? It looks like no, and Inksync comes back to get the first win.
Yeah, but I was not holding my breath for Inksync there. That looked like it was Flounder Frights' game. And, you know, the winning push came in the last 30 seconds of the game. Like, this is a tough set we're heading into.
That was that was aggressive and whoops, wrong match. I recorded the win there.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with that set, it was so Flounder Frights' favor, in Flounder Frights' favor. But, you know, at the last second there, they kind of had a little slip up, and that was all Instinct needed to capitalize. Certainly a competitive match. I believe Flounder Frights out-fragged Instinct, who ultimately won the game. Like, they had the pressure. That was their game. And out of nowhere, Instinct came in and took it right under their noses. Yeah,
and I think, too, especially because a team like Instinct, they've been around for, you know, pretty much for all of Splatoon 2's life cycle. They're probably used to being in those scenarios where it's, you know, it's go time. We have 30 seconds to take the objective to win, so they're probably used to those scenarios. Like, you know, I'm a sports person, so like the 2-minute drill right. in football. If I would be amazed if anybody here knows what I'm talking about, but they're probably more used to that scenario. And going on to this next match, it's really hard to tell what can happen. You know, both of these teams, now that they've played each other, they know the play style, and we'll see if any of that carries over for game 2.
Yeah, you said Inksync, though, having that back line, that's going to be a huge help here on Clam Blitz Wahoo World. If they're able to get some quick and early picks, that's going to be huge for them. But it doesn't look like they end up pulling out the Charger, ultimately keeping with the Bamboo, going for Bubbles and Fizzy Bombs there.
Yeah, it looks like Flounder Frights keeping a pretty similar comp to what they had before. But yeah, Inksync mixing it up just a little bit, as players from both teams are going to push up towards mid. You know, Clam Blitz is a little different because anybody could be anywhere on the map. It's not like everybody's kind of huddled around the objective, or like, you know, that's the central location. So really gauging on where these players are going to be is hard to tell, as it looks like Inksync tried to push up, but they form the power claim. Unfortunately, can't get in there. Ooh, and it looks like 2 players are down on Inksync. 2 players are down. So map control is probably going to go in the favor of Flounder Frights as they try and pick up some clams and try and build a power clam.
Yeah, that Bamboo, though, applying great pressure through mid. That's going to force Hozoke here to back up, give a little bit more space, wait for their teammates to push up with them. Armor is ready, along with that Inkjet. They're going to pop them both. Inkjet and Bomber's coming online from the other side, and this is a gruesome fight in mid.
Yeah, as we see Buddy just, you know, he's like, nope, I'm gonna head out, and goes down. But now looks like K is gonna win that 1v1, but now go down against Matt. So 2-on-2, very, very heavy stalemate, but map control probably in the favor, I was gonna say in the favor of Inksync, but really it's split pretty even now.
Yeah, I mean, just so many trades. We saw that in the beginning of the last game, that every fight just resulted in both players going down one way or another, and that's reflected in the map control here, as the map looks to just flip every couple seconds, or, you know, literally be split down the middle, as we see here.
Yeah, we're almost 2 minutes in, and again, no score. We did see 1 or 2 power claims that were formed, but again, if you can't control mid, it's going to be really hard to push up. As you see, Chase is saying, no, let's try and go this way. You know, the way we're pushing right now is not going to work, but it's like Matt's going to get a nice pick. 2 players are down on Inksync. Matt also has a suction rush. We'll see how well they try to use this.
Yeah, pressuring those left and right sides from mid, that's going to be able to allow them to control basically the entire map, other than Spinner, but it looks like they've got other players there below doing a good job painting up that. Specials ready now. Clam's online. 23 is that? Right, 27.
And 3 specials. Their whole team had specials, so it looks like they're getting there. Chase has 7. Oh, and it's not working out for them as 3 of their players go down.
Yeah, the armor just not coming online when it needed to protect those teammates, and that's going to result in a 3-down situation. And now Inksync has the opportunity to just hold forward and get points on the board. You know, the armor coming out for them. The ball is well ready. They're looking for a score here.
They are, and it looks like it might come in handy as Umi's doing some claim management, passes it to Jimmy to score. So finally, after about 3 minutes, we have a score. K is going to be following up, getting a few more claims, getting down to 71. And it looks like that will be that push. But again, you know, you think of 71 typically as not being a very dominant push, but if it's the only score in 3 minutes of this match, that's got to be something.
Yeah, I mean, getting points on the board is what you want to see in Clam Blitz. You don't want to get stuck in the stalemating mid, but it does give that free power clam to your opponent, that pity clam, and that's exactly what they're going to use their advantage. You know, they have this safety net here, and they're going to move forward, try to get this ball, and they're going to get the score on the board. Armor coming online, bubbles as well. That's going to allow them to stall this basket. And with 3 down, this is huge!
Yeah, Flounder Frights get some claims in. They got a power claim in too, so they have 48. Wow, that couldn't have been better timing for Flounder Frights. Especially this late into the match, as Instinct's going to respawn, really try and push some of these players out, but that was a very, very nice push by Flounder Frights, and it's still going. They're coming up the side. That's Buddy coming up the side all the way down to 21. It looks like Jimmy's the only one alive, but Buddy's going to be jumping back, and it looks like, can Chase get any more in? Chase is by the basket, but unfortunately can't. Just 1 minute remaining.
You know, both of these teams now are not hungry. They are starving for points. 3 minutes in, and you don't get a score on the board. You need to make your move. Instinct made the first move. Now, Flounder Frights, is going to be able to take that back and get points on the board. And now Inksync once again is looking to put their opponent on the back foot and really just force something in. But the pressure is not up from Flounder Frights as they get 2 more power claps in.
Is Chase going to get it in? And then he is!
Oh!
3 power claims at the end to win it for Flounder Frights, taking us to game 3. What an incredible match.
You know, you take 2 teams and you say stare at each other for 3 minutes, they're going to get mad. They don't like how their opponent looks. They need to get points on the board, and they need to KO. They're not going to let that timer expire. See that 3-2-1. They ended it early.
They did. Wow, that was probably the most entertaining Clam Blitz match I have ever watched. Most people aren't really fans of clams. They don't like to play it. Let's be real. But I thought that was so great.
It's unfortunate that solo queue ranked doesn't give you the full depth of a game mode. That something like Clam Blitz and solo queue a lot of the times feels very much like, let me hold forward, let me get this ball in, and that's going to be the difference in a game. And easily though in competitive, Clam Blitz is the most coordinated, most requiring of the most team skill as one unit. More than anything like Rainmaker, where you can hold forward, or tower control when it's who can spam the most specials. Indeed,
yeah, and I know players who, again, they don't like playing Clam Blitz solo, as most people don't, but it's one of the modes in League they really enjoy, because if they need to work on their callouts, work on coordinating their pushes, that, like you said, that is the mode to do it on, because you can't rely on those solo pushes. Or Rainmaker, yeah, you can kind of push it a little more, push it 5 more, and that's that. But Clams, it's like there's so many drawbacks if you try and do that.
For sure, it's a difficult mode to master. It's honestly, I would say it's easy to learn, but it really isn't. I remember starting out with Splatoon 2 trying to go, hey, why isn't this clam at the circle thing happening? Which, we get better. We get better with time, and then we're winning tournaments. And that's exactly what these 2 teams are going to look for here as we move into Splat Zones on Arrwana Mall, really wanting to take this set in a 2-1 fashion.
They are, and it looks like, again, Flounder Frights using the same exact loadout that they had before, and I think Instinct switched it up just a little bit, but Umi gonna get a very, very fast armor in just about 10 seconds as they take the first cap. 1 player down now on Flounder Frights, and Instinct gonna start their lockout phase, and we'll see how well they can hold on.
Yeah, getting that pick on the foil or squeezer, is huge for them. Those bubbles can be devastating if you don't see them coming, and being able to just say, you know what, they're not here, we can just play a little more aggressive is huge for them.
And they get all the way to 62. Can they hold on to the zone? It looks like they can, but the suction rush is going to be interfering, and now Flounder Frights is going to get control of the zone, but they are 2 players down right. Flounder Frights is, they were 3 players down, getting only to 93. Instinct is going to quickly take back the zone and push up. Trell's going to go around the left side and really trying to push up and watch all possible flanks.
Yeah, I mean, Instinct got a full wipe there, which is the most devastating thing, especially in a mode like Splat Zones, where a full wipe is the difference between a win and a loss with 30 ticks down.
And it looks like InkSync is going to get rid of their penalty points as they continue to push up. They're pushed up pretty far, but again, that's what they need to do to continue getting these kills. And, you know, if the zone is super well painted, they're going to be really comfortable with it, as Jimmy is going to get a nice pick too. 3 players are down on Flounder Frights. This is going to be hard to come back. Oh! And a fizzy kill by Jimmy. Wow, that might be it.
Yeah. I don't think these were the same 2 teams we just saw. I think we got something wrong, because that did not look like the tower control nor Clam Blitz matches I just watched.
Yeah, very, very different pace. But you know, it's zones. It's Arrwana. InkSync is going to be getting that win, and if we would have just watched that from game 3, you would have assumed like, oh yeah, you know, like, okay, they got it, but we built the hype up for game 3.
Yeah, I mean, commentators curse there of like, InkSync came out swinging. They figured out what they had to do in game 2. They figured out what they did wrong very quickly, or from that game 2, and they did not let Flounder Frights even like touch zone. They might have had it for 3 seconds before getting fully team wiped. Just dominating play from InkSync.
Indeed, and you know, that's one of those things too. Arijuana is gonna, it's gonna cater to who's ever winning. It's one of those maps that it's just really, really hard to come back from.
Yeah, I really think there is a argument to be made that there is something to be said about Arrwana zones, like that left side flank, that right side, that it forces your pushes to be from these flanks, and so being able to coordinate 2 on left or 2 on right, very much like Skipper Pavilion, a very common ranked competitive mode or map, sorry, I think actually gives Arrwana something beautiful to watch.
Yeah, I agree. It's not one of those maps or modes that I particularly enjoy, but you know, I can tolerate it more, I think, than Rainmaker Arrwana. That to me is not one that that does not tickle my fancy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's the tournament Minnow Cup that does the polls every time they do their tournament, like what maps do you want to see? They do mode specific tournaments. And I'm the guy who's like going against the grain and being, I want to see some Clam Blitz Arrwana in this tournament. And you know, it gets me flamed on Twitter, but I'll take that for some fun games.
Yeah, no, but believe me, I'm all for the unconventional maps and modes. Now there are some that everyone is just like, hold up. I remember, you know, season 1, game 3 of week 1 was Claim Blitz on Moray Towers. That was not a popular choice, but for that we just went completely random, and we're like, I literally just like did a pseudo simulator of figuring out the maps and modes, as long as none of them repeated. But here there's a little more thought, and again, you know, not going to be what is textbook competitive maps and modes, just to keep it a little different, but again, close enough that there's still going to be a few things here and there.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is keeping these teams to think outside the box, and it shows a lot more raw talent, especially in players, but also in team play with that Clam Blitz game. You know, there's something to be said that InkSync came out on a map that, unless they were doing some really intense scrims this week to warm up for this tournament, a map that they have not played extensively throughout their competitive career. So seeing how they were able to come out on Arrwana and just lock out fully definitely deserves some credit.
Absolutely, definitely. And now let's take a look at who is playing in our third set. We have KingMaker versus NightWings. KingMaker is the only undefeated team here in Friday Night Frenzy, and they are notorious for using a 3-brush comp. What are your thoughts on that?
It is unusual. You know, you talk about outside of the box map mode, you know, add some outside the box weapons, and you don't know what you're going to be playing. You don't know where to start. You know, there's the joke that like the meme comps in League are always the highest scoring, the highest power, and it's because just no one knows how to face them. You know, you try to say, let's get down our fundamentals, let's paint the map, let's do all these things, but it's really difficult to just pinpoint exactly how to beat the brushes. And I have a hunch that as we get farther into this series, we will start to see teams, start to VOD review some KingMaker gameplay and say, oh, here's the weakness of 3 brushes. Here's how we fight it. Let's wipe them.
Yeah, speaking from experience, since I have faced KingMaker at a LAN, one, it was very hard. They were very good. And, we did not have the comp set up for it. Our only range was a charger, and a charger against 3 brushes is going to be a hard time. Not that we're trying to like, hey, how do you beat KingMaker? Here's how, NightWings, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not not trying to do that right now. I don't want to ever, try and set up a scenario where one team is unfavored, I guess. But they're going to be a hard team. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, Brush is a weird weapon. It plays almost as a skirmisher in that it's just holding forward, being a distraction, being everywhere at once, but it can also just disappear from the map and pop back up and you're dead. It's a very versatile weapon, especially in the differences between Ink Brush and Octobrush. So KingMaker really knowing the individual weapon and really excelling in it is going to be able to take their team above and beyond, which we've already seen with their 2-0 result in this season so far.
Yeah, indeed. And it looks like all the teams are now ready, or they're all in the lobby at least. And typically KingMaker, they've subbed players in between sets. And it looks like we'll see if they do, because we never want to accidentally ready up. But so we'll check on that. But I can't think of anything now of any of these maps and modes, and I mean it's just really hard to predict with everybody's play style. But is Brush typically a tower control weapon? What are your thoughts?
It's a difficult call. I mean, I think you see Brushes either with one-trick players, which it looks like we have 3 of them here, or you see them pulled out for specific map modes where the Brush is favored. I feel like I don't see people going, oh, yeah, you gotta play Brush on Rainmaker, you gotta play Brush on Tower Control. The exception to that might be like lower ranking Clam Blitz, where you see a lot of Ink Brushes stacking that main power up and just running around the map as fast as they can to score those power clams without you noticing. But it's, not a strategy we see in competitive that often, simply because, you hold back, you let them waste their fuel and burn out, and you then coordinate a push and 100-0 them. So, yeah, I wouldn't say there's a specific mode, unfortunately.
And here we go. We're going to be starting KingMaker. Will they stay undefeated? Let's find out. Here we go.
A Hydra and CDS coming out 3 Octobrushes, as we expected from the KingMaker. Really a mega range comp from the side of NightWings here, not wanting the brushes to get close to them.
Yeah.
And I correction, there are 2 Octobrushes and the 1 Ink Brush.
Yeah, this is the most range I think I've ever seen out of any team. But that's what you need to do if you want to counter these brush players. As it looks like Sean is going to get a kill on JoJo. One more player is going to go down, and as Zach is going to try and push up at Hammer, doing what Hammer does best, being sneaky and getting the pick when they need to get the pick.
Yeah, I mean, 2 very early specials from the side of NightWings wasn't enough for them to really leverage a push. I know Inkjet coming online from the side of KingMaker, looking for another pick. A very stalled game, which we saw last set, but we know how last set ended up.
We do, and it looks like KingMaker's so close to taking the lead just now. Again, it's pretty early on. 3 players alive on both teams, as it looks like somebody was pinned. It looks like it was Sean pinned by the tower. Managed to stay alive to get on it, but now KingMaker may take the lead as they have a 2-player advantage.
Yeah, I want to point out that vanilla pro pick is unusual. Seeing you Storm, you normally see at least the K Pro or maybe the Forge Pro with those bubbles. As I say that.
Once again, Hammer's doing Hammer things.
Maybe I can't talk about the Pro here.
Yeah.
It's just such dominating gameplay from Hammer.
Yeah, and the only thing I can think of with the Pro, and this is what I was thinking when facing KingMaker, is the point sensors will counteract the Ninja Squid. which is really a driving force for KingMaker. As they get to the last checkpoint, they have 15 remaining, but 2 players are down now. Zach is going to use an Inkjet, try and stay alive, takes on Maddie, but just Hammer alive. Hammer's gonna slowly retreat a little bit. Hammer has the Inkjet ready. I would be weary if I was anybody on NightWings.
Yeah, I mean, talk about point sensors. I feel like they only matter if you're not getting KO'd underneath your noses. Somehow NightWings is able to hang on there and push or KingMaker out, sorry. But they have to get a massive push if they want to take this game.
They really do, but right now, NightWings doing a pretty good job getting some of the map control. But again, with all of these range weapons that, you know, looks like the Hydra's the only one that has a charge time that's going to take a little bit, but it's going to be hard to get these very close 1v1s. If you're NightWings, you kind of have to wait for you have to see them sharking, essentially, because if they're in your face, they are going to splat you.
Yeah, and I feel like that was part of the planning there with those 4 long-range weapons, you know, let KingMaker show themselves before pushing up, but it feels a little bit not fully thought out. You know, you have to move with the tower, you have to move the objective. They're going to be able to find 1 pick there on that Octobrush, another one on that Splash, and be able to make a push here, but really using this range is going to have to be the secret on these respawns.
And now NightWings going to get to their first checkpoint. This is the furthest they've gotten so far. It looks like as he's going to stay on the tower, gets past it, and Hammer and team doing a good job cleaning up. Hammer, of course, gets the pick there, as 3 players are now down on NightWings.
Yeah, I mean, KingMaker not letting NightWings have any chance in this set, just holding back, letting NightWings burn themselves out, and with 1 minute left on the clock, KingMaker is getting another push.
They are. Zach is going to try and stay up there. Now he's going to use the Inkjet, but it looks like they go into Baller and knocks the Baller right off the tower. I always think it's so funny watching a Baller navigate around the tower and just see where it goes, because it can just kind of go anywhere. Can Zach stay alive? Zach's going to jump out. They probably would have stayed there if they didn't have the missiles on them, but now KingMaker still is on the tower once again at the 3rd checkpoint. As players of NightWings are going to push up, 3 players are now down. Hammer's going to try and sneak up, but members of NightWings are going to push her away.
Yeah, 30 seconds left on the clock, roughly. I mean, NightWings has to make a huge push, and now they have to make a huge push in overtime. Not looking hopeful for them. They have to pull out every card they have if they want to win this game.
They do, yeah, just under 30 seconds now, and KingMaker doing a good job just keeping the tower on NightWings' side, so if NightWings were to pick up the tower, they would have such a long way to go to take the lead, but now we have a 2-on-2 approaching the final 10 seconds.
Yeah, we see Hammer just holding this Inkjet. There comes out there with the Tenta missiles. That's going to be really difficult for to stop as the tower now moves a little bit farther. 2 seconds left overtime.
Yeah, that's so hard for Zach. He was on the tower, but unfortunately with the Inkjet, had to go back to where he spawned. Ended it a little sooner than NightWings probably would have wanted, but a very, very, very good win for KingMaker. A very good effort, too, for NightWings.
Yeah, I mean, the range coming out from NightWings there is what you want to see when you're facing 4 short-range weapons. I mean, I was going to say 3, but it's not like the Splash is really doing them any favors. But unfortunately, you know, they weren't quite able to have the maneuverability around the map that they wanted. They kept being forced into these corners that the brushes were making and just getting picked off by that Inkjet. So, you know, NightWings, I think they're on the right track here, but they need to really brainstorm a little bit more and figure out how they can get the paint down that they need to succeed.
Yeah, and especially the weapon choices too. I would be surprised if we see the exact same weapons. Again, I think NightWings had the right idea with what they chose. That's how you're going to counter those brushes, but you know, I think they're going to switch it up for this match. That's my guess.
Yeah, I mean, I hope not, because we're entering one of the largest maps in this game, and like when you're 3 brushes and a splash, getting paint down is not the easiest thing when you're on such a large map. If you're running 3 ranged weapons and say a junior or a zap, you know, the turf is going to be your color. You're going to stay backwards. You're going to fire from afar, and those octobrushes are just going to fall. But you know, NightWings really has to get that down, and they have to get the paint they need to stop these octobrushes from just sharking around and doing whatever they want to.
That's right, and now these teams are ready, so let's move on to Game 2. Clam Blitz on Wahoo World. I'm excited for this. We had a very good match in the last set, and I think this could follow suit.
Yeah, let's see NightWings take a game off in that dominating fashion we saw from Flounder Frights. There you go, the three octobrushes, but with a K Junior, that's going to be a lot of paint in their favor, and not a lot of retaliation paint on the other side, though it looks like they're running double backline with the E-Leader Scope and the Hydra, the 2 largest ranged weapons in this game.
That's right, but then they do have a different weapon, a little more aggressive with the, okay, a lot more aggressive with the Neo/Amatic, but, you know, kind of probably adjusting from the first game. As Bob's going to push up, it looks like Paolo has 9 ready. Oh, and Sean has a power clam. So Sean is going to be pushing up, but 2-on-2 right now. Sean really not having a lot of room to work with, but is going to use the rain to try and push up, but is going to go down to Paolo.
Yeah, I feel like NightWings got the memo. They needed paint. They added that splash in and somehow ended up with an E-Leader Scope to just lose it all together. Like, they have the range, they just also need the paint, and it's these 2 things in together that they're just not quite having here.
Maddie's going to push up and get a few more clams in, as Paolo was there with the baller, but now Bob and Hammer throwing some more clams in, getting KingMaker all the way down to 50. And it looks like somebody's sneaking up on the side. Paolo's sneaking up there too. Somebody has 6. Are they going to be pushing up? And yes. And that is Hammer, who is behind the wall, but now goes down to Zach, but that's going to be a 1-push KO for KingMaker.
Yeah, I think we said we wanted to see the Flounder Frights game from last time. I just wanted to see it from NightWings and not KingMaker, because just that domination and a 2-0 victory in this set is so difficult to mentally get yourself out of that pit if you're NightWings.
Yeah, you know, it's rare that you see a 1-push KO like that, and I mean, KingMaker, they did a really good job spreading out too. And of course it's easier when you're a brush player because you have way more maneuverability. And so they were throwing clams in from every direction, it seemed like. You know, we saw first Paolo was just down right below the basket, and then I think Maddie was up on top, and then Hammer was off to the side, and then at the end Bob was throwing in some more clams. So it was just kind of a non-stop, like, if you're NightWings, you just have to check every single direction. You don't know where they're hiding.
Yeah, it was nagging from every direction. It was 3 skirmishers just poking you everywhere they can. And I have a feeling with something like Splat Zones Arrwana Mall, that might become more difficult. You know, it's a lot closed. It's these narrow hallways, and NightWings might be back in this.
They might. Now, last week we saw a pretty interesting comp for NightWings for Game 3. It was the triple blob comp. That may have been Flounder Frights. I get them mixed up a few times. But either way, I don't think we'll be seeing a meme set here. Could be surprised. But
I mean, fight fire with fire, right? You're playing against 3 brushes. How about we give you 3 of our own?
That's
maybe
right.
Pull out some Aerospray specials down here.
And so it was Flounder Frights who had it, but it was NightWings who was able to get the win against that match too. So I don't think it'll happen, but we could be surprised. Anything's fair game for Friday Night Frenzy. It's a frenzy.
Right, and a frenzy KingMaker has made it with these 3 brushes. Just complete and utter disregard for the rules of what competitive should be. But I suppose with Splat Zones Arrwana Mall, we're not holding ourselves to the highest standards either.
Well, I mean, I guess you could say that. It's all subjective, right?
It's subjective, and it's subjective that I like, and I've said that a million times, but I do really love Splat Zones Arrwana Mall, and I hope NightWings and KingMaker can get some joy out of it as well. Um, we'll see how the backlines might, also come in favor here. They ran the double, and I was skeptical of it on Wahoo, but on Arijuana, it's backline heaven.
Yeah, it certainly is. So again, something more similar to what we saw in the tower control match could be more possible. But again, if it's game 3 and you're still looking for your first win, you also might be more inclined to just play what your personal best weapon is.
Yeah, I mean, individual skill certainly can shine through on such a frenzy of a map. I was trying to avoid that word, but I guess here we are.
It's hard to avoid, yeah. But we're getting started with game 3, Arrwana Mall. We'll see if NightWings can get a win on KingMaker, or if KingMaker will win and clean sweep the set.
We're going to see a C-Jet coming out of the side of KingMaker. That's going to give him a ton of range that they didn't have before. And an X-Blusher and a Hydra on the side of NightWings. Even more range. This could be their game with such a long map.
It is. Sean is going to try and get some quick armor, and is now going to use it. But right now, they do have the zone. Not by much. There's some... there was a contest there, but it looks like... Well, both teams are pushing up pretty well, but you gotta avoid the Ray, gotta avoid the Jet, gotta avoid the missiles. You just gotta avoid all these specials. What are you gonna do? It looks like they do by keeping the zone, but they are one player down now. And now it's 2v3. Sean is still going to stay alive. But now the zone goes towards goes towards KingMaker.
Sean, for the first time, coming out and bringing a junior to this fight. That's going to give them a ton of paint that they need, especially to paint this zone. And along with the range behind them, this can be devastating. The Hydra getting a nice pick there early on. That's going to be or an Explo, sorry. Making a 3v3 on the field, but with specials ready on the side of KingMaker, NightWings has to play a little bit slower here if they want to be able to push back into zone.
Yeah, Zach's going to push up in the baller, but that's going to be dangerous because once your baller detonates, you're pretty much a sitting target there as Paolo gets the pick. One player down now on NightWings, and the rest of KingMaker, they're going to be pushing up, but it looks like as he takes one of them down, they do have armor, going to push up. Can they get the pick on the brush? They do get the pick on Maddie. 2 players are down now on the side of KingMaker as NightWings continue to take the zone and dwindle away at their points remaining.
Player and positional advantage here as they move into this lockout phase. The Hydra's #1 priority, though, for the rest of this game is finding that C-Jet and denying them an opportunity to pop that Ray. We're going to see armor come online for the side of NightWings here as KingMaker sweeps back into the zone.
Yeah, KingMaker has the zone now, but it looks like Splatcat's just going to be waiting there. Ooh, Splatcat getting a little weak. Can they stay alive? They do, but again, now needing to push up, almost has a suction rush ready. Is going to avoid some missiles, going to try a little bit of a flank and maybe use a suction rush while they're there.
Yeah, I mean, those alleys, making sure you're using them to your advantage are going to be everything you need, but a hammer, going to find those picks, get them 2 down, and that's devastating if you're NightWings, who is looking to really just hold this zone a little bit longer.
That is, they did have 2 players down, which is amazing. It's really hard to work with. Now Hammer again using the Inkjet, and gets an assist, but has pretty good control of mid right now. 3 players are down on NightWings.
Yeah, you know what's better than 2 backlines on Arrwana? 1 really good Inkjet. And we're going to see that continue in the next 2 minutes of this game. The Hammer's Inkjet there just using their range that they can from the skies.
That's right, and KingMaker's still doing a good job. Just about 30 remaining, and they're pushed up pretty far. They're pushed up on all angles, and it looks like players of NightWings might be getting ready to contest, but no, 2 of them goes down. Hammer's going to get a good flank on AZ, and this will probably be the game with 3 players down and just 10 remaining.
Yeah, I mean, a good start from NightWings there, but KingMaker is going to take that game 3-0. Expanding their lead in this series now on week 3, continuing undefeated with 3-0 as their record.
And a really good finish by them, too. That one, I'd say that one was well, obviously closer than the Clam Blitz match, but probably NightWings' best effort so far. And they did a good job getting that, getting all their points that they got.
For sure. I mean, a great lockout there for sure. Not quite, what we saw last round with Inksync, just 100-0ing it, easy peasy. But KingMaker really going through the efforts and saying, here's how we're going to move, here's how we're going to lock out, here are our rotations around the map. And they kept to that cycle, and they denied NightWings any chance of an entry for the entirety of their hold.
That's right, and it looks like we just have one more set for the night. We are going to have SPF7 versus the Wiggly Phantoms. And Brushstrokes, I believe you mentioned you're pretty familiar with the Wiggly Phantoms. Can you give us some more information on them?
Just a little. I don't want to go through their entire history, but much like Intimidation Factor, they're LSL winners themselves. I think back in February, I want to say, something like that, recently taking beta bracket in Low Inc. Last month. Definitely a notable team in their own right, and really wanting to expand their lead here into a 2-1 situation in these standings.
Yeah, so what can you tell us, since you played on the team, can you talk a little bit more about each of the individual players?
Sure. Unusual for the comp scene, but we saw it earlier today. We have the Dapple Doolies coming out. Jub, that's her main weapon, though they also switch to T-Tech sometimes for that Inkjet. Otherwise, a versatile number of players. We have Snack, who pulls out a lot of the buckets, loving those tri-sloshers and sloshers for a little bit of range. And a Tent Skirmisher player, Gem, who I believe recently got reconnected after the Connect Gem campaign on Twitter.
Nice, that's good to hear. And of course, Wiggly Phantoms, very popular on Twitter with the amazing production that their team puts on with all of their tweets. It's pretty amazing, and you're probably like the 5th person I know with a Wiggly Phantoms t-shirt, by the way. I know when we were commentating at Riptide, Popgun had his on too, and gotta show the love for Wiggly Phantoms.
For sure. I mean, they were a huge success at Riptide, and I think Blue, their support player's controller, had been having some joystick drift issues today. Jub said, you know what, we're gonna make some t-shirts and we're gonna make some money and fund this new controller, and they're gonna come out swigging with not being or being able to move directly forward and not drift to the right slowly.
There we go. Now, do we know if that goal has been met? Do they have a new controller now?
They do. That's what I'm saying. Is
Okay.
they're not going to be drifting to that right side. Blue is going to be coming out and moving in straight lines only, making those fast super jumps without accidentally jumping to the wrong person.
Yeah, I love seeing it, and I'm honored that they can be a part of Friday Night Frenzy. Honestly, every team that's here. I don't want to say just them, but all of these amazing teams. Let me grab another graphic with our players here. But again, kind of talking through, a lot of these teams have been together for quite some time, and we do have a few pickup teams. So we kind of talked about Intimidation Factor, Radical Dreamers, Inksync, and KingMaker, and Wiggly Phantoms. All of those are more they've been playing together for a long time. And then Flounder, Frights, and NightWings, again, I kind of mentioned that they're a pickup team, but they've all played together very often. And then one of the teams that we're about to see is SPF7, which stands for Spawn Point Friends, and the 7 of them. So let's go ahead and look at the rosters, but it's going to make up of Carrot, Rose, Jayan, Juicy, KO, Sleeves, and Suneku. And the Spawn Point members there, Carrot, Rose, Juicy, and Sleeves. I don't know if all 4 of them are going to be playing tonight, but they will be taking on Snek, Navy, Gem, Jub, and Blue.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those notable players in their own right. Obviously, the Spawn Point crew being the streamer coalition, so all being very well-known players. A fun matchup we're going to see, at least for myself, who knows a lot of these players really, really well, and an exciting matchup for sure. I think it's important to mention, I mean, Carrot, I know, is a backline player, so if they are here today, maybe being able to take advantage of these backline favoring maps.
Yeah, I believe Carrot plays Junior and Enzap.
Junior and Enzap. Who am I thinking of?
KO plays E-Leader.
KO.
I don't know if
you.
you're thinking of KO. Yeah. Or you may have said KO. I thought you said Carrot.
I said Carrot. I got
Okay.
it wrong.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah, so there you go. I am, as a junior player myself, confused the support group in the very cool E-Leader squad. But there you go. So assuming KO is here, we're gonna be able to see some lovely E-Leader gameplay on Arrwana, especially, as well as Wahoo World, extending both of those plat strong.
Yeah, and again, I had the pleasure of playing with Carrot and KO as a part of my Riptide team. Super fun, super nice people all around, and I think this will be a pretty competitive set. I don't know what your thoughts are initially.
I'm really excited to see him. I mean, I'm always here to watch some fun gameplay from competitive teams. And I think because both of these teams, or at least players of these teams, are so well known, we're in for a treat for sure. Like most of the standings here, with exception of Radical Dreamers and KingMaker, they're tied 1-1. This is their chance to pull ahead in the standings and really make a stand. And as well, be able to take some rankings of where all the teams might be relative to each other.
Yeah, after this set, we will have, we know KingMaker's 3-0, and then we will have 3 teams who are 2-1, so they will be making up, kind of the top 4 for now. So it's 2-1, 1-2. I think it's more of a morale thing too that will kind of just set you in the right direction. But again, everyone's also here for a different reason too, to get the practices in. I know there are some people who are like, I don't know if we'll really do that well, but they definitely want the experience, and that I think obviously is more important than winning.
I totally agree. I think, especially for, some of the more competitive teams in this bunch, though, this is a good opportunity to sit down, play some competitive matches, and then go into something super difficult. Like tomorrow, IPL is hosting their Super Jump Major with a ton of money on the line. This is a really good time to sit down, play the fundamentals, play the basics, play the game, so that way tomorrow you're up and at 'em and ready for some competitive matches.
Yeah, that's something I can't believe we didn't mention. Tomorrow is Super Jump, so if you are enjoying Friday Night Frenzy so far and you're like, what, I would love to watch some competitive Splatoon tomorrow, definitely check out Super Jump. It is a tournament brought to you by, or hosted by IPL, and it's going to be so fun. Can you give us a little more information on it?
Sure. It's a 2-day format spanning Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, a round robin group setting, similar to this, but a lot more groups. And that will lead into seeded brackets. Everyone will make a bracket on day 2. And it'll be a fight to the death to earn some lovely prize money that has been fundraised through private donations and through Patreon and Twitch and a bunch of other sources of revenue for IPL.
Yeah. So now, are you working, or are you participating, or are you working with Super Jump? I don't know your specific role with it, if you have one.
So I'm obviously playing it as the captain of Bad Luck Trout, but I am on the production team, so I'm helping with the stream that you're gonna see tomorrow and making it all pretty and fun. And I know Popcom was on last week. He will be commentating. It's really a mixture of the best we have in the scene, and maybe that's from the participants all the way down to the people we have producing and commentating and running the live stream, staffing and everything of the sort. It's gonna be a fun event, to say the least.
Yeah, and do we know how many teams are signed up already?
Oh God, what's the number? It's a lot of teams. Really? I think it's like 800 players alone.
So
I don't have.
That's 200 teams if it's all, well, maybe.
Assuming every team has 4
Popgun
players.
says 150 plus. Okay.
150 plus. That's a good number. Yeah.
That's like the biggest Splatoon tournament we've had, isn't it? Like.
It's certainly up there. I don't know if it's number 1.
Yeah.
But it's no small tournament. It's a major, as we say.
Yeah, it's gonna be so good. Again, that is starting. You said, is it 9 a.m. Eastern time? No, or 10 a.m.
I see. Or it's 2 rounds. So I know the second round of stream is gonna start at 3 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
There's the first thing, which that sounds right, 9 a.m. Eastern sounds about right, because that's catered toward more of the European scene.
Yeah. If you live in California or the Pacific time zone, I'm sorry. But get the coffee ready, get everything ready for Super Jump tomorrow. I know I'm really looking forward to watching it. So it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I'm super excited, but I don't want to detract from the Tower Control Piranha Pit we're about to see. SPF 7 versus the Wiggly Phantoms. I think that we've talked about this a couple times now. Piranha Pit being such a strange tower control map with how the tower moves. I'm definitely interested to see how these two teams are going to tackle that issue and come out swinging.
Yeah, I agree. Especially with a team like SPF 7. I think most of the players are, pretty set in stone with the weapons that they choose. So I don't know if there's really going to be much, picking and choosing. They were very quick to ready up too. And I mean, I'm pretty much a one-trick pony. I pretty much play K-shot or bust. So yeah. I follow the same boat. Yeah.
Definitely feeling where Carrot's at, getting that junior ready, say, you know what, I'm gonna play some turf war right now.
There we go.
And I'm gonna yell at my teammates about where everyone is. The Wiggly Phantoms on our end taking a little bit longer to ready up, but I'm sure just getting their heads in the game, getting themselves ready. A difficult matchup ahead. We talked about Sneck's sloshers. I think on Piranha Pit with those ramps and those drops, the slosher pick here can be devastating to your opponent if you're not ready for those ledges to be camped. So seeing how Sneck is able to take advantage of that as well.
Yeah, we'll see what they choose, and Sneck using the tri-slosher. But overall, pretty even comps from both sides, I think.
Yeah, a very missile spammy map on the side, or weapon comp on the side of the Wiggly Phantoms. I think that H3 has missiles, I believe, as well as the Zap there. But only one missile on the other side, but they have a backline, which that range is going to allow them to really take control when they need it.
It is, and it looks like two players are going to go down on SPF. Wiggly Phantoms are now going to take the tower, but they have a 3-person advantage. The Heavy Remix has the special ready, but it looks like Wiggly Phantoms are going to get to the first checkpoint, and it looks like they'll get almost past it, but that Blue Bomb thrown there at the last second. Gem and Blue going to push up, getting Wiggly Phantoms past it. Sineku is on the side trying to prevent them from progressing any forward. Juicy going to be using some missiles, but right now Wiggly Phantoms doing a really good job just staying on the tower and really staying alive together as a team.
Yeah, I mean, the luxury of no backline is that you are all forward. You are push or bust, and that's exactly what the Wiggly Phantoms are doing here. Now they're in a 4v3 situation as they go try to get back on the tower and move it past into the second checkpoint area, forcing SPF all around the map here. Getting a nice pick on Sneck there is Carrot, or not Carrot, sorry, but it's going to ultimately result in a trade.
Yeah, now SPF 7 has the player advantage. Tower's going to go back to mid. Carrot's going to use some armor, is going to push up a little bit, and will maybe throw some bombs, but it looks like Sneck gets on the tower. Carrot takes down Sneck with their armor, too. Again, SPF 7 doing a pretty good job with their player advantage. They need to get on the tower and get this tower moving.
Yeah, but now a 3v2 situation on the board. Wiggly Phantoms are going to have some time to respawn here with missiles ready from Blue on that end zap. It's going to be difficult for SPF to really push far here as the Bria comes out just as a hope to secure some area.
Yeah, and like you mentioned about specials, we've seen so many specials being used already. Looks like SPF 7's having a pretty hard time getting back to that first checkpoint. Tower's really been kind of going back and forth as we've been having a lot of trades, a lot of 3v3s, 2v2s as well, and this is only going to benefit the Wiggly Phantoms as they have the lead.
Yeah, and not only benefiting them because they have the lead, benefiting them because they are the more aggressive comp. I mean, save for that Nautilus, that is 3 basically frontline slayers. Weapons that can just hold forward and pave areas out. So trades definitely are going to be in their favor.
And Juicy's going to try and get around, but unfortunately goes down. Right now, SPF, they were on the tower a little bit. Sineku's going to get a kill, but then goes down to Sineku. Sineku's now going to jump out, avoid that rain there, but has the Booyah Bomb special. Again, tower's just kind of floating at mid there. 2 minutes remaining. Really, it's been pretty much a stalemate, but like you said, this is only going to benefit the Wiggly Phantoms as they have the more aggressive comp too.
Yeah, a minute 50 left on this score, or on this timer, sorry, as one goes down on the side of SPF. Two specials coming online instead of the Wiggly Phantoms. They're going to look to get one more push here, maybe, as Navy just kind of dances around here, trying to save lives with those missiles. They're ultimately going down, and a 3-down situation in favor of SPF 7.
Yeah, SPF 7 is going to need to get on the tower now. This is going to be their most opportune time to do so as they push up and are approaching the first checkpoint. Suneku is going to be using a Booyah Bomb, trying to push them out of there so the rest of the players can move forward just a little bit. Suneku now going to try and get some flanks. Juicy's on the tower. Can Juicy get past the first tower? Has to avoid that suction bomb. Looks like they do. Carrot is down there using the armor, making sure no players are dropping down. But again, with all these specials, it's so hard to push the tower up, but it looks like they do get it to 69, getting past the first checkpoint.
Yeah, but not before going 2 down, and their sleeves there is going to jump out even, and they're going to completely regroup as 2 specials are ready on the side of the Wiggly Phantoms. They've got 1 minute left to make one big push, but it definitely is achievable here as their specials are going to get ready and come online. They're going to find one pick early on, and that's going to give them an even larger advantage as the timer ticks back to 45 ticks.
Yeah, just under 40 seconds now, and SPF 7, they did a good job pushing up. Again, they don't really have the map control right now. Carrot's going to do what she can do to get on the tower and use some armor there to refill your ink. What's great about ink armor and using your specials is it's basically quad bomb. You know, you have a double bomb loadout, you use your armor, you have 2 more bombs, and you just have your own mini bomb rush. But right now, a few players of SPS 7 are down as Wiggly Phantoms continue to paint. They have the tower now, as Navy is just going to kind of wait and protect the tower, probably hop on in case they need to. But again, goes down. Is that going to be it? It is.
Ooh. I mean, just such a good lead and hold from the Wiggly Phantoms there, really doing everything they could to just hold the areas they needed and dominate that match. And they're going to take round 1 here, but not in any dominating fashion. A very close set from these two teams. We're going to move on to a game 2 here on Clam Blitz Wahoo World. I think a map that such aggression is a little bit harder to hold. You know, we've seen throughout the day here Flounder Frights with their very fast push, and KingMaker as well on this map just going 100-0. But it wasn't until they really had an opportunity set up here. So as long as SPF 7 can stay alive and hold their ground, Wiggly Phantoms are going to have a tough time really getting in and getting points on the board.
Yeah, that's indeed, and it looks like there was a player swap, so Rose is going to be hopping in now. I will update their score. We need to give them their proper win, so let me take care of that. Find that right text file. As I mentioned, I was telling I was telling Brushstrokes I had 13 text files open on my monitor to get all of these overlays ready. So
how many are you down to?
I'm down to 4. I have each team name, the scores, and the overall standings. So luckily we're able to kind of dwindle those down just a little bit. But yeah, it's kind of a lot sometimes, you know?
Yeah, well, the Wiggly Phantoms and SPF 7 here, they're going to want to get one of those text files closed as we go into a game 2 here, trying to maybe get this one done fast. Definitely some dominant gameplay. A Crapid coming out on the side of SPF 7 and a Tent coming out on the side of the Wiggly Phantoms. Unusual and less standard meta picks from both of these two teams.
Yeah, that's true. And then I do like the Undercover Brella pick too. I love seeing how well it's utilized with the Clam push. Snek is going to ride that little arch there, just kind of be like, all right, this is my ride. I'm going to get here.
And they're going to get a pick with it, too.
They're going to get a triple.
2, 3.
Snek getting 3. Is this going to be the quad? Are they going to go for the blaster? Probably not, but it looks like now they're trying to coordinate who's going to get the clams, tossing all the clams back and forth. And Navy has a power clam. These Phantoms, they're wiggling towards this basket right now as they get 2 power clams in. And Snek, still sitting by the basket, is probably going to wait there and keep this basket open. Again, a very, very good strategy of just not throwing all of your clams in at once, but maybe being like, hey, I'm here, I'm safe by the basket. Let me prolong it by just keeping myself here with all these clams. And that's a wipe.
Yeah, I mean, now SPF 7 is in this game again. Not before the Wiggly Phantoms are able to push that counter down all the way to 30. and the tent is able to just kind of make a mess down by that goal. Snack, we think back to them taking control of that little arch area, and they're going to try to do it again here. Make some noise around this arch and spinner area, and they're going to be able to find one more pick there. SPF 7 not quite learning their lesson yet.
Yeah, not quite yet. And it looks like they're going to be, again, tossing more clams. Navy almost got the power claim, very, very close. But they're just really applying the pressure right now. And again, they'll have 35 penalty points that they'll need to try and break. So if you're the Wiggly Phantoms, you know, is it still worth scoring if you don't think you can get the 35? Or is that still score when you have any opportunity to?
I think, in my mind, the idea is if you can hold pressure for a long time, it's worth trying to hold pressure. Wiggly Phantoms, though, going 3 down is going to open the door for SPF 7 to maybe make an push of their own. But now 2 down on both sides, it's going to be difficult for Carrot to really find an entrance in here.
Yeah, Carrot has a power claim. They also have armor ready, so probably waiting for the teammates to kind of push up before using it. You know, you don't really want to waste armor, but all players are alive on both teams. Carrot's going to use it right before going down. I'm not sure if it was given to the rest of their team. I think it was, but that's hard for SPS 7.
Yeah, I want to point out, I mean, we've talked now a couple times about Snap controlling the spinner area. I think a lot of the mindset on this map mode is use these extensions to your advantage, but the Wiggly Phantoms doing an excellent job using the spinner to their advantage. They're going to find 3 more picks and open the basket once more. Bubbles, Booyah, and Storm coming online as they continue to dwindle this point value down.
Yeah, and it looks like Sneck is over on the side. Sneck still has a clam left to just kind of keep the basket open. And 2 players are down on the side of SPF 7. It's going to be hard. Sneck gets one in. Just 12 remaining. 4 more clams will do it. And it looks like Navy has those 4 clams.
And a beautiful push, 2-push win from the Wiggly Phantoms there. Doing a great job controlling that spinner. Look how green that little circular donut is in mid. The Wiggly Phantoms taking this at 2-0, but they're going to have to really fight for this Game 3 fun in Arrwana Splat Zones.
Indeed. And again, if there's any map that is going to be different than the rest, that's the one that it is. So,
a similar refrain.
Yeah.
I mean, it.
Yeah, I feel like Arrwana Zones is the kind of, you know, whatever happened in games 1 and 2, Arrwana Zones will be different.
Certainly. I mean, it really is that element of surprise. It really is like nothing these teams have played before. I think back to when I was starting in comp, you know, I played a lot less scrims, I played a lot more league, and it really allowed me to learn maps really, really well. And so I wonder if some of that old practice from maybe seeing the original roster members of the Wiggly Phantoms stacking Navy there is going to help them out here as they think back to some older league sessions back in June of 2020. But also, you know, these Spawn Point crew, no stranger to solo queue or league themselves.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, from what I've noticed, streamers in it kind of depends, but a lot of them will play solo queue just because it's the easiest to kind of just pick up, play, interact with your chat. So you do have that going for you, just kind of the on the fly, you know, by myself experience. I know that's definitely more my play style too, but yeah, this one will be good.
For sure. I mean, those 2 allies, we talked about them over and over again, but every team has brought a different element to them, and with Gem's tent maybe controlling those alleys on the right and left side on push in and a lock out respectively, might be impossible to push them back, and might be a beautiful way to just stall out an entire side of the map.
That's right, and we are getting ready for our final game of the night. We'll see if the Wiggly Phantoms can get a sweep, or if SPF will get a game off of them. Let's go.
It's the Explo coming out on the side of SPF. No, there's the tent on the side of the Wiggly Phantoms, along with a Vanilla Slosher for those missiles. Missiles on both sides, Booyah on both sides, a very similar comp, specials-wise. This way spamming.
And our lovely this way greeting. We appreciate it, Wiggly Phantoms. As it looks like SPF 7 is going to get the first early cap, and that's what you find with zones. It's the first cap, I think, out of pretty much any mode, it doesn't really mean a whole lot. Maybe tower if you accidentally get on the tower. But right now, SPF 7's doing a pretty good job. They have a 2-player advantage, and now they're going to start their lockout phase.
Yeah, I mean, getting that first cap maybe gave him a little bit of paint control that the Wiggly Phantoms were quite ready to face off against. Specials now ready on both sides. The special advantage of the Wiggly Phantoms as they look to get another push back into zone.
Yeah, and SPF 7 still holding onto that zone, but going to have to evade 2 specials, 3 specials, I should say. Looks like we see some bubbles coming in, but again, 2 players are now down. Carrot's going to have to jump out as SPF 7 gets all the way down to 52. It's pretty good, but again, zones on this stage can just really snowball. And right now, Wiggly Phantoms, if they push up enough, that could be game.
Yeah, it almost looked like the Wiggly Phantoms were going to fully cap the zone from 3 specials from afar. It wasn't until the bubbles came in Gem's close range that they were able to really cap and push Carrot all the way out into a jump. Now the zone is being contested, but Snap doing a good job just holding their ground in this zone and being able to really just keep the pressure there. Missiles coming online from them.
Yeah, and now it looks like Wiggly Phantoms, they do have the lead. They are going to push up a little bit. They are allowing SPF 7 to kind of come in a little bit, and it looks like Carrot and Sleeves are going to try and push in. Sleeves is going to get ready for Booyah Bomb to try and cap, and it looks like SPF 7 does cap, giving 58 penalty points.
Slipping right under the nose there, not before the Wiggly Phantoms go 2 down, and SPF out of nowhere is going to start a lockout of their own, 3 down on the side of the Wiggly Phantoms delayed.
Yeah, Carrot with a nice bomb kill on Navy, and again, 2 players are down, and it looks like SPF 7 is going to get rid of their penalty points. Can they hold on to this and take the lead? But it looks like, look at Gem's position. Look at Gem in blue.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah, Seneku's going to have to really watch for them. We'll see where they push in. I'm intrigued to see what their strategy is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, a distraction is only helpful if you have eyes on you, but they're going to be able to push it from both sides of the map.
Man.
Oh my!
SPF7 was so close to taking the lead in that match, but that push from Gem, you couldn't time it more perfect to really work with the Brella and work with the bubbles in order to get that cap, and now 3 players are down on the side of SPF7. That was really good work, but it looks like SPF7 is going to follow suit. They're doing the same exact thing.
I mean, you can only imagine what comms are like right now, just screaming, go, go, go from both sides. And they're going to be able to take the cap there, as we said, but now, SPF7 giving them a little taste of their own medicine and capping his own themselves.
Yeah, and we're just under 2 minutes now. Again, this is still back and forth. A lot of penalty points on both teams. We will see if the Wiggly Phantoms can get back and cap. It looks like they do get a pick. Navy gets a pick. Right now, they do have the zone. Again, 40-plus penalty points for both teams. This could go into overtime with just all this back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to tell, and the 1 point difference, but really the penalty points is what you're looking for here. A minute and change left on the clock, and this game has been so back and forth, it really could be anyone's.
Yeah, and again, just 1 minute left, and it looks like SPF 7, they're getting really close to finishing their penalty points too, but we do see some missiles coming in, and the rest of the Phantoms wiggling back towards the zone. Snet goes down to Seneku, and it looks like SPF 7 has it. Are they going to take the lead? They do take the lead. 2 players are down now on the Wiggly Phantoms.
The Booyah is going to come out to try to cap that zone, and they're going to be able to get it here, but now they have to go into an overtime push if they want to be able to take this win. 40 seconds and change left on the clock as the Wiggly Phantoms have the player advantage for the time being.
They do, and again, just 30 seconds left, but again, SPF 7, they're going to have to try all sorts of things. I mean, we've seen flanks from all directions in this map, but it looks like now their team's kind of split up right now. And can't really push towards the zone together, so it looks like Wiggly Phantoms are going to get rid of their penalty points, but will they get down to 14?
They just have to get a couple points to get that win, and with seconds now left on the clock and 2 down in the favor of SPF, SPF is going to be able to cap the zone, maybe? So close.
Yeah, SPF has the zone, but one of their players goes down. Will the Wiggly Phantoms come back in overtime and get it, or will SPF 7 hold on to it? It looks like this Booyah Bomb, it probably won't do it, but the Booyah Bomb Slosher combo, can it do it? And it does!
Oh! A beautiful game from both sides. I mean, nail biter to the end. Not a slow moment there on Arrwana zones. Can we add this game map mode to more tournaments, please?
I'll leave that quote to you. I won't say it verbatim, but oh my gosh, what a good match. But Wiggly Phantoms getting the 3-0 sweep, but based on how those teams played, especially in games 1 and 3, you would not see that. SPF 7 was right there, especially in zones. What an entertaining match that was.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about a competitive set going in, and I mean, even though the Wiggly Phantoms were able to take this overall 3-0, definitely a competitive 3 games back-to-back. And I would love to see these two teams face it off again in the future.
Oh, I certainly would too. And let's review the current lineup here, the current standings and scores. So we see that Intimidation Factor wins against Radical Dreamers. Radical Dreamers still looking for their first win of the set, and then we move on to the second match, Flounder Frights versus InkSync. That one went to an authentic game 3. Again, very, very, very entertaining. On that side, KingMaker getting the sweep against NightWings. KingMaker, I think they've only dropped 1 game, so I believe in all they are 8-1.
An impressive record for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the extremely entertaining set between SPF 7 and the Wiggly Phantoms. That they gave us the best Arrwana Zones match. What are your thoughts?
Oh, no question about it. I mean, we saw 2 times in a row in Arrwana Zones that was just 1 cap and done. The Wiggly Phantoms and SPF 7 really knowing how to play this map, having fun, going behind enemy lines and pinching in from both sides. A incredible set to watch, and an incredible game 3 as well.
I agree. And now let's take a look at the standings, all lined up here. So KingMaker 3-0, and then we have 3 teams that are 2-1: Intimidation Factor, InkSync, and the Wiggly Phantoms. 1-2 SPF 7, Flounder, Frights, NightWings, and 0-3 is Radical Dreamers. We're gonna head into week 4 next week, and I mean, here we kind of see the division. Week 4 is gonna be. It's going to be a good one. I'm really excited for it. So, Brushstrokes, initial closing thoughts for the evening.
Yeah, I mean, so fun getting to watch these teams duke it out, especially on a little bit weirder map mode that is Arrwana Zones, but also on something more traditional like the the Wahoo Clam Blitz match. I mean, these teams, as they move into the week 4s and the week to come, this is their chance. This was the start, I think, of really defining your place in this bracket, that you don't necessarily need to beat KingMaker to make it into that bracket at the end, but you definitely need to be competitive with the rest of the set. You definitely need to be taking games when you can. And, InkSync, Intimidation Factor, and the Wiggly Phantoms leading now along with KingMaker with the 2-1 and 3-0, respectively.
Now, very well said. I have a very important question for you. Are you making a BLT right now?
I am making a BLT. I got this beautiful stock footage courtesy of my teammates today. I was like, I'm going to be on webcam on stream, and I need a background. And we were like, well, bad luck, Trout, BLT, Splatoon, better stay on brand. So... Ta-da.
I love it. Thank you. I love it. It caught my eye, and I'm like, something's a little different there. Very, very nice. Again, good luck tomorrow in Super Jump and to every team participating. But Brushstrokes, thank you for being here tonight. I really appreciate you commentating with me.
Yeah, of course. It was a blast. Definitely a really fun format you got going on here.
I appreciate it. And where can we find you on Twitter and on Twitch?
You can find me everywhere at brushstrokes_SPL. I would spell that, but I'm not going to.
We have the text at the bottom of the screen there on the stream, so you're good there. But that's going to be it for us tonight. I hope you guys have an amazing evening. If you guys haven't, follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/FalcoFlyer. Follow me on YouTube as well. I post all of these VODs on YouTube, so you can relive the Friday Night Frenzy glory. It's amazing. You can also follow Friday Night Frenzy on Twitter, FNF_SPL. It's a good time, but that's going to be it for us tonight. So I hope you guys have a wonderful night. I hope everybody participating in Super Jump has a fantastic time tomorrow, bright and early. That kicks off in 10 hours. So get your sleep, or stay up all night and drink some coffee, do whatever you need to do. But again, that's going to be it for us tonight. So thanks for hanging out, and we will see you next week.